Hello! There! Today is my birthday. I just turned 22 years old. Along with being 22 years old comes wisdom. Wisdom and knowledge. And I'm feeling exceptionally knowledgeable today. I decide that I'm going to make an informative but inaccurately correct version of a historical story. So, today I, lots of cake, 3 different kinds of cake today. There's chocolate and there was white cake, and then there was this other cake, better than sex cake. And, I've never liked better than sex cake. But it got me thinking, like, who seriously thinks that cake could ever be better than sex? Like, who would think that? I decided I'd research the history of better than sex cake, so I Wikipedia'd that bitch. With my computer. Yeah, and I did that. And I read on their little Wikipedia story, and nobody knows the history of better than sex cake. Basically, I decided that I would roll with my knowledge, because I'm that much older today. So, better than sex cake is a cake that is made with yellow cake mix, and it's got pineapple filling in the middle of it, and then it's got whipped cream on top of it. And that's a whole lot of nasty shit, but that's what it is. After I found out that there's no history on better than sex cake, I decided that I'm going to tell you the history of better than sex cake. My version, of course, because it's going to be awesome. So this is my exaggerated, but predominantly predominant and substantially abundant, copious, fraudulent reminiscence of better than sex cake history. So our story begins with a young woman. A young woman named Eleanor Rigby. She was a peasant woman who worked in the church and picked up rice after nuptial celebrations. At the flourishing age of 45 years old, she fell in love. She fell in love with a woman. Just kidding, that's not how this story goes. She fell in love with a man, and this man's name was Tommy Two-Tone. Things were fantabulous between the two hearts. These two hearts had a bond. The two individuals frolicked in undomesticated copulation. They spent sunny afternoons soliciting each other in front of the neighbors. Things were all fine and dandy and peachy, but then things went wrong. Tommy fell in love with a new girl. Her name was Jenny. He had this obsession with this girl named Jenny, who at the time was 13 years old. And Tommy was 52. But, back in the olden days, that shit was normal. So that's not really has anything to do with my story. Kind of. What am I talking about? Anyways, Tommy had an obsession with Jenny. Every time he would grab his phone, he'd dial that number, 867-5309, and he'd do it, and he'd do it, and do it, and they'd do it, and they'd do everything, and he'd just call her, and it was Jenny and Tommy together, and this left Eleanor all alone. During their period of intercourseal explorations, Tommy and Eleanor became sex addicts. They became sex addicts, and they were obsessed with sex. Well, Eleanor got left in the corner. It's like when you're in elementary and a teacher tells you, go sit in the corner. That's what happened to Eleanor. And basically, it drove her nuts. It drove her very nuts. She spent 8 years mourning the loss of Tommy. Of course, she tried finding other dates on Match.com and Zoosk and Plenty of Fish and all kinds of online dating sites like that, but things just weren't working out for Eleanor. They weren't working out at all. And so she decided that she was going to get even with sex because sex broke her heart. She was getting it like this every hour on the hour, and then they were messing around every other 15 minutes, and then, well, every 5 minutes they'd have a quickie. So they were pretty obsessed with this sex. And basically, she decided that she wanted to get even with sex. So she decided to make a cake. She decided to make a cake so goddamn good that it could be better than sex cake. And that, everybody, is a total lie. But like I said at the beginning of this video, this is my exaggerated but predominantly predominant and substantially abundant, copious, fraudulent reminiscence of better than sex cake history. I knew I threw a lot of big words at you, but if you translate all that with thesaurus.com, or I don't know what it is, basically everything I told you is a lie. Yeah, but, no matter. I'm still feeling the power of knowledge today. I feel knowledgeable. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe. www.youtube.com/user/tlock15.